And lastly, this week I'm going to talk to you about two of my favorite metal albums from all time. The first one is going to be Blind Guardian's classic Somewhere Far Beyond, which is one of my favorite albums. One of the first metal albums that I listened to, and the first album that really got me into power and speed metal and symphonic metal, and I like the part, and because I also like the part where you have this combination of acoustic guitars and clean singing and choruses and whatnot. Besides the fact that Hansen is a really good storyteller, he has very good lyrics, very good stories when he sings and when he writes. And God, one of my favorite albums of all time. From start to end, I have to listen to it in one sitting, otherwise I feel like it's incomplete. And I still know all the lyrics to it. I still sing them out loud, and hopefully one day I'll be able to see Blind Guardian play live and play some of the songs from that album. Even though I'm gonna be a bit sad that Tom is not gonna be behind the kit, the drum kit, because for me, Blind Guardian, the really great Blind Guardian albums were the ones where Hansen, Thurman, Magnus, and Andre were the ones playing. Besides the fact that you had other guys like Oliver Holtworth playing bass, but to me the core of Blind Guardian is those four guys, and it's gonna be a bit sad seeing those songs played live and not having Thurman behind the drum kit. Other than that, if you've never heard of Blind Guardian, or if you've never heard Somewhere Far Beyond by Blind Guardian, please do yourself a favor and listen to this great power metal album. One of the best albums in those days. I think it was 92 or 94. Not really sure, but it was a great album. You should definitely check out. And on the other hand, I'm gonna be going to the darker side of metal, so to speak. I'm gonna talk about Cradle, Filth, Median, which is one of my favorite albums by Cradle, Filth. Just under Cradle, Filth's debut, That's Concurrent Bass, which I'm gonna be talking about next week or some other week. But Median is one of the rare albums in which you have a very good lineup at the time. In Cradle of Filth, you have great songwriting, great singing, great lyrics, and it's one of the few weak spots to me that Cradle of Filth has, which is having a concept album for me. Even though I'm a big fan of Danny Field's singing and writing, as some of my friends might tell you, to me one of the problems I have with Danny is that whenever he does concept albums, it seems to me like he's trying too hard to bring a story together, and I think it's a problem with most concept albums. In general, you have to be very good at storytelling in order to put a good story. And I think it's been done rarely few times in metal history. Like I have to agree with Hector Marcus here. Dream Theater's Scenes from Memory. Yeah, Metropolis 2 Scenes from Memory. Yeah, I think that's the title. It's a great album. I think it's a very good concept album, very well told. I had a very interesting twist. Whereas Cradle of Filth albums, which have been concept albums like Call of the Beast, which I know it's a very an album that most people like. I really can sometimes get behind the story because sometimes they're like too long, and I'm like, oh please get out. I didn't like Godspeed on the Devil's Thunder. I thought it was very all over the place. It had very few good tracks, and it's not. I mean, the story. I think that all those pieces of narration actually killed most of the mood on the album. What else we have on? Damnation and Day. I thought it was a very overlong album that also had very standout tracks, and it wasn't that good. And the latest Cradle of Filth album, Darkly Venus Aversa. Oh my god, what a horrible title. I think Venus Aversa would have been a great album title, and the music is all over the place. I really can't remember hearing any of the songs. I've listened to it like 2 or 3 times in a sitting, and I can't remember anything. Whereas Midian, I think it has a lot of great tracks, and you can listen to it from start to beginning, and it's very powerful. Like I said, it has very good musicians in there. You have Martin Powell from My Dying Bride fame. You have Adrian Erlandson from At the Gates fame. You have obviously guitar players, Gian Paras, who was, I think it was his fourth album with Cradle of Filth at the time. It had the greatest bassist I think the Cradle has ever had, which was Robin Graves, who left 2 albums after that. I think he left with Bitter Suzuki, and I think it was a great loss for Cradle of Filth, the losing of Robin Graves and Jim Pires, and you had the returning talents of Paul Allender in the guitar. I think overall Midian has great songs, and most of the songs that most people I think the one song that most people know about Cradle of Filth, which is Her Ghost in the Fog, which I think the video does very little justice to the song, because it's edited, and it takes away like I think about a minute or minute and a half from the song. It takes a lot of the story from it. And other than that, you have great songs like Torture Soul Asylum. You have Satanic Mantra. You have what else are the tracks on this album? I forget. Immortal, which is a very good song. Lord of Ocean. You have Saffron's Curse, which I think is also a very good song. You have Cthulhu Dawn, which is a very good song and very fun song to sing along. And you have a lot of good songs on the album, which it doesn't have a storyline to follow, but it has a concept which is based around a book by Clive Barker, which you might know. Maybe you don't know his name, but you definitely know his work. I'm talking about Hellraiser and Pinhead. You know, the guy with all the pins sticking from his head. And the book itself is very good. If you haven't read it, I suggest you look for it. The book itself, it's called Caval. It's a collection of stories, and the first story is about Midian. There's also a very bad movie about it in the 80s, which is called Nightbreed. It follows more or less the same story about Midian, which is a place where monsters dwell, or people who are monstrous dwell. And Midian, the Cradle of Filth album, is all about that. I think it's a very good album. Also, you should check it out if you haven't. I mean, you should take the idea that it's a concept album, but it's not a storyline album, which I think Danny does. When he does that, he creates better albums than when he tries to do a concept album and tries to put himself into a corner with storyline. I think Danny should, I mean, as my humble opinion, is that Danny, when he tries to do concept albums, he should try to do overarching concepts rather than storylines. And I think his greater talents in writing shine that, aside from the fact that maybe the musicians he has at some time or the other are not the proper ones to execute a concept album. Not to bash on Cradle of Filth's various and interchangeable lineups, as some might say, but I think Danny needs some type of players, some type of musicians that can follow some certain sound. But let's see what those guys have later. I think they're doing a revision of their older albums in a symphonic way, which I think I'm gonna be jumping all over and slobbering all over it, because I think it's a very good idea. That Cradle of Filth has always had this symphonic elements to them that are usually not very exploited and have been overshadowed by some of the theatrics or the image or the fame that the Cradle of Filth has, whereas other bands which I think are even more theatrical and even more exaggerated, like let's go out and say it, Dimmu Borgir, have been always praised by their symphonic elements. I think Cradle of Filth had very good keyboard players and musicians who did very good ambience in their albums. So I mean, well, going back to what we were initially, Cradle of Filth, Midian, great album. Check it out if you haven't. If you have, spin it again. It's a very good album. And that's it for me this week. I'll be trying to get back to you next week, maybe with a better presentation, better lighting, and better overall show. And you guys take care, be safe, take care, and send me your emails, send me your whatever your comments on YouTube. We also have our Facebook page. Just look us up as the Weekly Metal Dose. I was very happy to see we have a lot of people liking us, and I would like to see a lot more of you guys commenting and, you know, during the week. That's where I do more updates on videos, on news that I think are worth of sharing for you. Some of the stuff that I don't talk to you about, I do there. And if you wanna talk about, want me to promote your albums or your shows or whatever, I can do that in the Facebook page. So take care. See you around next time.